This is the story of how the nonprofit Neuro Diverse Living was created by one couple's determination to make an impactful change for autistic adults. The main focus and mission for Neuro Diverse Living, or NDL, is solving the housing crisis for adults with autism by providing safe and secure smart home-enabled housing communities for individuals with autism or other intellectual disabilities.
So hi, my name's Jim Richardson, one of the co-founders of Neuro Diverse Living, and we're thrilled to get this opportunity to let you know who we are, why we're doing what we're doing, and to share our story about neurodiverse living and what motivates us.
And I'm Nancy Richardson, wife and mother, and also co-founder of Neuro Diverse Living. And we would like to share with you the reason why we started this organization. So I hope you have a few minutes to sit back and relax and hear our story.
From one generation to the next, how did your own parents shape and influence your approach to life?
Well, that's a great question. And for me, my parents were the biggest influence on me. And I'd have to say my father in particular. They were great people, kind, caring. They raised me to be thoughtful, respectful. And I think I grew up in the shadow of a true gentleman. My dad was a blue-collar worker his whole life. My mom, a stay-at-home mom. And it was a very great childhood. My father was very soft-spoken. My father stuttered. Was not good at speaking, either privately or publicly. But it really wasn't what he said. It was what he did and how he acted. He lived, I think, a life of greatness, just being a really good person. And I believe that those values rubbed off on me and made me who I am today. And although they're gone, it's still the voice inside my head. I think, how would my dad react? And I think, am I making my parents proud? And I know I am. And I feel like we're still really connected, and everything they instilled in me as a young child is still with me at the ripe old age of 65.
So my experience has been with two wonderful parents. We lost way too early in our life. But having three other sisters that have helped shape who I am, who I've become, as well as wonderful, fabulous friends and extended family. I couldn't have asked for a better life and experience of individuals who have come into my life to help me be the person that I am today. It's all of those things that have brought me and Jim together because we share a common heart.
Yeah.
I'll say that. When I was younger, I used to give my milk money away because others didn't have it. Other kids didn't have it. And I came to find that he did something similar when he was a kid. So we both have this in our blood. It's who we are.
Yeah.
And it has just really helped to shape this organization because it is coming from the heart.
Jim and Nancy, you have experienced several unfortunate challenges in your life. Can you explain how your attitude is the only thing you can truly control?
Sure. I think the best way to answer that, in my early 20s, I was in a severe car accident, and a gentleman fell asleep behind the wheel of his car, ran right into the back of me, and it happened so quickly. The next thing I remember was being down in a ditch, a gully, a valley. A car toppled over end, and I recall the police breaking the passenger's window and pulling me up through it. And I truly believe the seatbelt saved my life, and I believe that it was God's will that I lived through that, and it just happened in a flash. That car accident caused me to have 4 subsequent spinal surgeries. And I think you have 2 choices. You can play the victim, or you can grow from it and grow stronger from it. And I chose at 26 years old, I had the opportunity to go on disability, but I couldn't. I had a family, I had obligations, but it was my positive attitude. And I think that's a carryover from my upbringing, to be strong, to live through, to grow, to be a better person. I just refused to let it drag me down and play the victim. And you know, those surgeries were hard. They were difficult. They were debilitating. And one of them, I recall, and I don't know if it was a result of the surgery, but I had a brain tumor that was growing on my spinal cord. And I recall that it was about a month of my life just kind of disappeared from the medication. And Nancy did a great job taking care of me here at home. And I'm sure she's got a few things to say about that. But you know, when you have adversity, you have choice. And the choice is your attitude. You either grow from it, you accept it, or you just let it consume you and play a victim. And I didn't choose to do that. I felt that this made me stronger. And I think the attitude, a person's attitude, is the only thing that cannot be taken away from you. You can let people take it, but you have to give it away. And I just chose to never let it happen to me.
And that's one of the things that we've brought not only to our marriage, but to raising our son. Yeah. We could have just accepted his diagnosis and let him predetermine where he will end up in life. We chose not to do that. It's not only through this organization that we founded, but everything that we've encountered along the way in terms of his disability. He would have exhibit certain behavioral issues, so we tackled them one at a time. We solved for that one and then went on to solve the next one. Yeah. And as we were seeing the improvements that he was making, we were realizing we were onto something. We were making not only his life better, but he was a happier, well-adjusted, confident, and full of self-esteem young man. And I think that that's all about the attitude that we have exhibited. He's seen it in us, and he exemplifies it himself.
What organization helped inspire NDL with their motto, Service Above Self?
About 2 years ago, Jim and I accidentally stumbled onto a local Rotary Club that was recruiting some new members. And so we thought, let's go check it out. We had never ever thought about it before. It wasn't anything that we really went out looking to do. But once we met with the group and the members and heard their stories of give back to the community like they've done and continue to do, we were so inspired. We joined immediately. They have a motto, service above self, and that credo actually follows us very to the T. So we joined. We've done countless projects with them, and again, it continues to help us get better at what we're attempting to do with NDL, because we get some good influence, we get some good guidance from people who already have that same mentality.
You know, for me, it kind of goes back to the giving your milk money away, but on a much different level. It's still helping people and being selfless. And you know, the other thing that I love about being part of that group is that they're great people, and they're people that we like being around. They really care more about others than they do themselves. And that is truly an inspiration. I think it's a great way that we should live our lives.
Can you tell us about your relationship and how your own son, Michael, who is now a grown adult with autism, has impacted your lives?
Jim came into my life, or I should say our lives, unexpectedly, but as it turned out, when I needed it the most. I recently lost my mother. was going through a divorce and just really needed to find that rock, that place that I needed to be, and with someone that wanted to be with me along that journey. Again, I wasn't looking. It was just, he was there in front of me the whole time. And my eyes were finally opened. And where that inevitable intersection of our lives together had come at a time when Michael needed it too. He was starting out in his kindergarten and first grade. A lot of things were happening medically, behaviorally, and I needed someone who would be there to support me and believe in me and support and believe in him. And that was Jim.
It's interesting too that I like to tell the story of really how we met. We were both working for a company in South Jersey, and I was running a global sales organization. I had an opening in my department. I had seen Nancy in the company in her role outside of my group. So the company's practice was to interview internally first. She applied for the job, interviewed, didn't get it. Didn't find another candidate, so we reposted the job a couple weeks later. Nancy applied for it, I interviewed, she didn't get it. Long story short, on the fourth time of hearing no, I realized, you know what? This girl got something. For a salesperson to take no 4 times and keep coming back. And that really was a launch point for how Jim and Nancy got together. I mean, we were colleagues first, but you talk about fate, destiny, kismet, our parents kind of pushing us together. Whatever it was, I think she came into my life for a very specific point in time and for a very important reason. And helping Michael has turned out to be one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me.
Very serendipitous.
Yeah.
Please explain how autistic adults with aging parents are facing a severe housing crisis, or even worse, homelessness.
One of the things Nancy and I have always talked about for years is what's going to happen to Michael when we're no longer here. It's inevitable. And as a parent, you never ever think about your child's what's going to happen to your child when you're gone. And when you're a parent of an autistic child who will never be able to live independently, you have to have a plan B and a plan C, and even maybe a plan D. And it is something that we know families who have autistic children, grown autistic children, or other children with intellectual disabilities deal with and agonize with all the time. And we've talked about it for years, and finally we realized it was time to do something. We knew the government wasn't going to provide a long-term solution. And what we found here in the state of Pennsylvania was 2 organizations that had something similar to what we wanted for Michael, but the waiting lists were 15 and 20 years long. So like everything else in our life, we took matters into our own hands, and we formed Neuro Diverse Living. And statistically, this May, the Center for Disease Control came out with a new study where they reported that 5.4 million adults in the United States have autism. 5.4 million. And that's literally 1 out of every 4 adults in the country today has some form of autism. In a study from 2014 through the census, Pennsylvania census reported 73,000 adults in Pennsylvania are receiving services because of autism. So 73,000 adults in the state of Pennsylvania with autism. Now here locally in Bucks County, the numbers are pretty staggering. As of the 2014 census, there were 4,000 adults just in Bucks County. And we have one of those adults in our own home. And it is a pervasive problem. And it's a problem that needs to be solved. And whether we can help 10, 20, or 100 other families, we know that there's a need and that we have to do something to provide housing for these adults who are not going to have a place to live when their aging parents are no longer there. We talked earlier about the options, having an A, B, C, and D plan. Well, everybody in the family, Nancy's sisters have said, we'll take Michael. My two grown daughters said, we'll take Michael. But as a parent, the last thing you want for your son or daughter is to have them bouncing around from house to house, family to family. Michael deserves, like every other individual, deserves a place where he can spend the rest of his life and be a valued contributor to society.
Could you please explain what options and plans you initially explored to find housing for Michael?
As we started looking into options for our son here in Pennsylvania, we found there were none. Group homes, assisted living, those were options, but they weren't options that we felt gave Michael the independence and the ability to be a contributor to the community. And we want that for him. As most families want their children to be a vital part of any community that they would live in. We want him to thrive. We want him to feel like he is part of something. And that comes with having a sense of independence and the ability to live his life the way he would like to. Having housing where he is looked after, but given the opportunity to live the way he wants to and contribute to the world and his community the way he wants to on his terms are what we want for him.
Yeah, and Nance, the thing that's obvious as we've been building Neuro Diverse Living and talking to parents from the community, they all share the same angst, the same concern. And finding housing for Michael or other young adults is not just a 20, 30-year issue, it's a lifelong issue. So where's Michael going to live when he's 50, when he's 60 and needs another level of care? So we have to not only plan for the next 20 years, but for the next 50 years of Michael's life. We'll be long gone, and it will be up to people who are continuing to run neurodiverse living to provide that safety, that sense of comfort that I know we as parents and other parents want for their child.
Having all of those concerns and discovering the utter lack of any viable housing options for Michael, do you feel a housing crisis is coming?
So we're on a ambitious journey. The housing crisis for adults with autism isn't coming, it's here. It's been here and it's just going to get more pervasive. And we're on a journey to provide safe and sustainable, smart home-enabled technology homes where individuals like Michael can live safely, comfortably, be productive members of society and the community, and benefit others along the way. We know that the need is so much bigger than we'll ever be able to satisfy. But what we hope to do is to be able to help as many families as we can here in Pennsylvania, and then share the model that we've developed with other families who can take that into their community. We're not here to try to be everything to everybody, but we're here to make a difference in the life of our child, 5 other children, and maybe, who knows, 50 others over the next several years.
What are your plans for NDL moving forward? What actions will you take to further build the foundation?
We believe that what we're doing can help a lot of families here in Bucks County and in eastern Pennsylvania. And the actions that we need to take really focus around 3 things. The model's pretty simple. We need real estate, a place for these individuals to live. We need to reach out to families, which we've been doing, who are looking for alternative options for their grown son or daughter. And we need the finances to support the program, the finances to put furniture into a home, the finances to train and recruit staff to take care of these individuals, and certainly the finances to provide all their activities of daily living. So, it's pretty straightforward. 3 legs of the proverbial stool. It's the real estate, for an individual to live in. It's the family. Families looking for alternative options like we are for their grown or son or daughter with autism. And then the financial component to run that so it survives. And this is not something that we're doing and taking lightly. We just cannot stand up a home and move a family in and hope that 5 years we have enough to keep them there. This is a lifelong commitment for our son and for everyone else's son or daughter as well.
Someone watching this video now, how can they help or get involved with NDL?
We could use help from any source available, whether it's your time, your money, or your skill. If you have, if you're good at marketing, good at grant writing, if you could help in any way, shape, or form, we would love to talk to you. Some of the things that people don't realize that they could contribute in smaller ways is, donating a piece of land that you may not want or you inherited, donating some real estate, donating, life insurance. There's all kinds of unique ways that you can help us make a difference.
And as a 501c3 public charity, any donation you make, whether it's financial or property, real estate, art, life insurance, if you want to get out of the stock market and don't want to pay capital gains, you can donate those profits to Neuro Diverse Living, and it is tax deductible.
2020 has been a rough year, to say the least. How has COVID-19 impacted the development and progress of NDL?
Interestingly, we filed our paperwork with the IRS in November, and on February 22nd we got approved as a public charity, a 501c3, and on March 13th the government declared state of emergency with COVID. So you talk about taking the wind out of your sails a bit, and I think we could have folded, could have given up and said, this is just not a good time to start a new small nonprofit, but we didn't. Just like we never give up on anything, it's our attitude just to keep moving forward. So we've endured, and we're now planning our inaugural fundraiser for November 14th. It'll be virtual. It'll be a Facebook Live. It'll be a brand new type of event for us, but it will be virtual, and everybody is welcome to join. And you can get more information about our fundraiser at ndlfundraiser.org. And if you're interested in learning more about us as an organization, what we do, who we are, those we're looking to serve, you can visit our website at neurodiverseliving.org. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to spend with us today and letting us share our story and introduce you to who we are. I think it's important that we get our message out and help spread the word. If you can't make a donation, that's fine. Just tell somebody that you know that we're here and that we're looking to make a change and make an impact and help people who have autism and the families that currently support them. Thank you.
Thank you.